payment processing system. So
it is
cryptocurrency to do that.
It's happening.
It's clearly shaking the system.
If we fight it, it will go around.
Trust and stability of the system.
It's here. It is here already.
Yeah, I see.
The U.S. dollar will undoubtedly at some point be worth less and may eventually be pushed out as the only world currency, probably by China. Bold declaration by China that seems to imply that it simply had enough with, quote, U.S. threats to interfere and will now move forward to de-dollarize and strike back against the United States by creating a global currency to compete with the U.S. dollar. China has long considered joining Russia and fighting back against U.S. control of the world's ability to trade or transfer goods without U.S. interference or say-so. But now China is announcing that it's actually preparing to be cut off from the U.S. financial system, and they're taking what appears to be real steps to protect itself. Why? Or maybe the better question is, why now? Okay? The reason is that while the United States has been heavy-handed in the past, it has never, according to China and Chinese experts and officials, gone so far as to weaponize the U.S. dollar the way that the Trump administration is doing so and threatening to do so now. See, that's why China says that it's doing what it's doing. Even if it shakes up the entire global market, it says it's necessary as a defensive move. Can the United States dollar survive the challenge from China and now from Russia? Speak about China unloading part of its share of the U.S. debt that it owns, right? It did so because it believes that the United States dollar is about to be horribly devalued because of what the Fed is doing by printing so much money seemingly out of thin air. It appears that there's another player in the world stage that's making a similar move. Russia is now sending signals of no confidence in the U.S. dollar as well. And
China right now is being very proactive and is taking a defensive stance right now to prepare for the possibility of being cut off from the U.S. dollar payment system in case the U.S. sanctions Chinese companies and banks. And right now, cutting China off from SWIFT would be economic suicide.
For money, what email did for communication. Do you think this is really going to take off to that extent?
You know, we do. When we look at the world, you see a world completely connected on an information web. And that's terrific. That makes things tremendously efficient. But what we don't have is the sense of a value web. Payments, the exchange of value is still pre-internet based on 40-year-old technology. And so that's very expensive. That really slows e-commerce. Lots of parts of the world don't have the ability to make payments. So this new technology that really is a second gen of Bitcoin enables now value to be exchanged in the same way that information is currently exchanged. And that's a big deal, we think.
But do you think, Chris, that people are actually going to be comfortable using a kind of virtual currency? I should ask you, too, how is what you've produced on the coin side, on the digital currency side, different from what Bitcoin's already doing?
So what Bitcoin set out to do is really build a new currency that had no central bank. So in a way, Bitcoin is sort of a way of storing value. Ripple is a completely different idea. We're using the same breakthrough technology, but we're using it to build a currency-agnostic value exchange or value web. So you actually don't need to adopt a new virtual currency to use Ripple. You can use it with dollars, euro, yuan, real, anything you like. We have a math-based currency built into Ripple that is like Bitcoin, but it really functions as an enabler. So we think most people will use Ripple using their existing things of value, like dollars or euro or yen.
What am I doing? I'm fighting the deep state. I'm fighting the swamp. And I said I was doing it, and I'm exposing the swamp. I think if it keeps going the way I'm going, and Ratcliffe is fantastic, if it keeps going the way it's going, I have a chance to break the deep state. It's a vicious group of people. It's very bad for our country. And that's never happened before. You happen to be a victim of the deep state, I hate to tell you, whether you know it or not, but they've treated you horribly over the years. And so have they treated many other people.
And that this will be some sort of cryptocurrency that can be used internally within Facebook's walls to make payments on Facebook and within Facebook's other services like Instagram. What's your take?
Well, look, I think it's an incredibly positive signal for the overall blockchain and crypto market to have a player like Facebook leaning in. You know, I think there's been obviously a lot of skepticism in the origins of crypto coming from kind of an anti-government and anti-bank point of view. To see major industry players lean in and participate in the market, I think it's a really positive for the overall market. It'll be really interesting to see what part of the market they focus on. David Marcus has been an incredible leader, and given his experience at PayPal, I expect we'll see them do something very consumer-y oriented part of the payment system. But I think
are sent through a vast network of banks every day. Ripple is a tech company in San Francisco that wants to help banks move that cash from point A to point B faster and more cheaply. But Ripple wants to do that by utilizing a digital token called XRP. Joining us now from Los Angeles to discuss is Bloomberg's Matt Leising, who authored a Bloomberg Businessweek piece on this. So we've explained what Ripple is and what it wants to do, but the problem here is that its customers, banks, aren't buying into its proposition.
That's right. We spoke to executives at 7 of the largest banks in the world who are at the heart of the correspondent banking system, where you move money from the United States to Africa or Asia, or corporations need to make payments around the world. None of those executives want to use XRP. They don't want to get involved with cryptocurrencies, and moreover, the customers that they serve, like the Caterpillars of the world, the big corporations,